To tell you the truth, I think we're much too precious about our approach to it. After about 5,000 or multiple thousands of people saying to me, nobody wants to talk about death, and then they want to talk about it, I realized more people want to talk about death than anything else I've ever tried to bring up with them.
Well, count me as one of those people. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the logistics of it. Things like buried, cremated, or donated to science. Who takes care of my dog if I die? What songs make it on my funeral playlist? And if I die tomorrow, what are my last wishes?
Families don't often bring this up or discuss it until it's really too late or not very comfortable to discuss. And to my mind, I can't think of a more interesting Thanksgiving conversation than all the different family members surprising each other with what they want.
That's Cynthia Beal, founder of the Natural Burial Company, talking about the importance of talking about your last wishes. In this episode, the very first episode of the Adventures of Memento Mori, I chat with her and other lovely guests about the logistics, legalities, and the preparation that goes into one's death, specifically mine. And so, without further ado, let the adventure begin with Episode 1, Plan on Dying.
From the Maida Creative Company, this is The Adventures of Memento Mori, a seeker's guide for learning to live by remembering to die. The podcast that explores mortality. Here's your host, D.S. Moss.
We were talking with natural burial expert Cynthia Beal about hijacking the conversation during your next holiday dinner with your family and discussing everybody's last wishes. Could you pass me the rolls? Oh, and by the way, Aunt Sylvia, what would you like done with your remains?
Hey, are you more relaxed about the possibility of dying because you feel like you've got it all figured out?
Relaxed? No, absolutely not. And I'm not claiming to have anything figured out, just organized. To help me work out some of my mortality issues, I sat down with life coach Devin Martin of Lifestyle Integrity for some moral support.
I am Devin Martin. I'm a life coach. Some would say a life and career coach. Today, perhaps a life and death coach. I often say that I help people create and manage major life transitions. And I suppose there's no bigger transition than the one to the afterlife or death or however you think of it.
Yeah, as far as transitions go, I would say this is probably the biggest.
So the time of death is still undetermined, but everything that happens post-mortem will be laid out in detail.
Yep, that's the plan. I's dotted, T's crossed, decisions made. Luckily, I tripped upon this software company that takes you through all the steps of what you need to do to prepare. Gives you the paperwork, you store the paperwork, and then it allows you to give access to your loved ones should something happen. Should something happen. That's such a polite way to say it, isn't it? By the end of this, I'll be ready to die. Administratively speaking, of course. Imagine for a minute you're sitting in front of your computer right now. You open up a browser, type in www.everplans.com. Clean-looking website comes up, mostly blue tones. There's his father staring off into the ocean, and he's got his daughter on his shoulders. A very peaceful scene.
I'm Gene Newman. I am the editorial director at Everplans, and I help make all this dense, complicated, often depressing stuff a little more accessible and hopefully fun.
Gene is going to be our user interface tour guide as I complete my Everplan. As an added bonus, I also have author and funeral guru Elizabeth Meyer on the line to help make sense of this.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I have about 6 years of experience planning funerals and making the topic a lot easier for people to discuss.
So before we go any further, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm always in some sort of existential crisis, but that crisis is usually based in obsessing about finding meaning and not obsessing about death. Honestly, the last thing I want to do is think about my own death, let alone plan my own funeral. Even when I was in the Marine Corps and we actually had to do the paperwork, I didn't really think about it, and I still don't want to think about my own mortality.
Everybody wants to believe that they're invincible.
Me included. I have much bigger problems to deal with than thinking about my own mortality. But, as Grandpa used to always say, Learning to live is just the process of learning to die. So, at what age should someone realistically start planning?
Start now. Why not? There are certain faiths that believe that if you start planning your funeral, you'll die.
We get that a lot, haven't we? We've heard a lot over the
taboo.
past years that people think it's like if I buy insurance, something bad's gonna happen to me. If I start planning my funeral, that means I'm accepting that I'm gonna die probably sooner than I should.
Which is a legit concern. I mean, the last thing I want to do is accidentally manifest my death.
People that even think they planned and did a great job usually leave a mess behind regardless, because they think, well, I got my will, I got this, I tell people what they want, my house is in this name, so I don't have to worry. And then you get through this and we say, okay, what about your pets if you have any? What happens to your whole iTunes collection? What happens to all the books and movies and every digital asset you have? Social media, adding things like that, what do you want done with it?
Who's going to take care of my children?
Who's going to take care of my dog?
What's the life expectancy for a man such as yourself?
What do you mean, a man such as myself?
A man in the United States.
Back with life coach Devin Martin.
Oh, I don't know. I'm pretty healthy. I exercise, I eat well. Probably drink too much. Sometimes I smoke when I drink. So I'd say probably 85.
85.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a little above average. It's a good thing to shoot for.
Well, I've always had high aspirations.
It seems like taking care of your death is more about taking care of everybody else.
Or, as Gene from Everplan says it,
It is. We mentioned that it is the most selfish, selfless act you could do because you're doing it where you get no benefit.
It's planning a funeral, dealing with all of this, in case it hasn't been clear, it's a pain in the ass. It is, you're dead. I mean, bless your heart. You're calm, you're cool, you've got no worry in the world. It's the rest of your family. You're not doing this for you. You're doing it for your family, for your friends.
So I have to admit, as we were going through this, there was this thought that kept creeping in my mind. Who am I actually going to burden with carrying all this stuff out? If you're married, it's easy, right? It's part of the contract of what your spouse does. But seriously, do I want my mom dealing with this? How horrible is that? But then Elizabeth said something that kind of stuck with me.
I think it's really interesting that the word that comes to your mind is burden. Because I think the word that should come to mind is the honor. The honor of being responsible for the last thing you can do for a person.
She says, think of it like a birthday party. If you say to your friends, throw me a party, they'll be like, ugh, what a pain in the ass. But if you say, hey, could you make a reservation at this restaurant and invite these people? They'd be like, sure, my pleasure.
And I think if we compare funerals to that, as opposed to this mysterious thing, suddenly it's not a burden. It's an honor. And I think that's the way we need to look at it.
I'm not too sure we have the same type of friends, but all right. Let's get to honoring somebody.
Hello, fellow provocateurs who believe death is a topic worth talking about. We need your help spreading the word. Be the slightly odd yet endlessly fascinating conversationalist at your next party and tell your friends about the Adventures of Memento Mori. Want to stay in the loop? Join our inner circle by going to our site, theadventuresofmementomori.com, and be sure to stay up to date with the quest for enlightenment on YouTube by following our channel, The Adventures of Memento Mori podcast. And now, back to the show.
Step 1. Create an Everplans account.
What is your reason for creating an Everplan?
To reconcile my estate. It's what responsible adults do. Nope. To be prepared should something happen.
Have you done any healthcare planning?
Nope.
Have you done any financial planning?
Nope.
Do you own any property?
No.
Do you have a spouse or life partner?
Nope.
How many children do you have?
Nope. Look at that. Easy peasy. Almost done already. Step 2. Advanced Directive.
Advanced Healthcare Directive, there's the Healthcare Proxy, and then there's a Living Will.
This is a section that I actually knew the least about, and is probably the most important regarding giving your family the guidance to execute what you want, and it's the easiest to complete. The healthcare proxy is
the person that you name to make decisions when you're just out of it, when you can't. You could be in a coma. It doesn't have to be that you're just sick and dying. It could be getting in a car accident and you're just in a coma and you can't say, hey, I want this treatment or that treatment.
And a living will is your end-of-life medical care. It's always the responsibility of doctors to keep you alive as long as possible. So your living will provides the doctor instructions for when to say when.
It's a joke in my family, is that my mom will say that if she stubs her toe, I'd pull the plug with her. Or if she could be, actually in a coma, my brother would still be. And so she filled this out and said, look, this is what I want, so one of you doesn't kill me.
If you remember back to Terry Schiavo and recent cases, this is what spurred the huge debate where people if you fill this out and people know what you want, then it can be taken care of. If you don't, then it becomes a huge battle between people who think you have to stay alive at all costs and someone saying, look, we have to pull the plug because there's just nothing we can do.
In New York State, the advance directive includes both the healthcare proxy and the living will.
You'd go in there and fill it out, and a lot of times each state has different ones. And on Everplans, we have everyone. You just search for your state, download it, and this is one of the few things that anyone can do. If anything, right after tax day on April 16th is Healthcare Decisions Day, which was the day that everyone's supposed to fill this out.
This little piece of legal gold seems incredibly important. Is it mandatory that I fill it out when I sign up for health insurance?
No.
No. Sadly, no.
No.
This isn't mandatory.
No.
This shit should be mandatory.
That's the thing
This
that's
shit
crazy.
should be mandatory.
But it's not.
We have to name someone to do it.
You should do
You
it.
should do it. Everybody should do it.
And so, I did it.
Hello?
Yo, what's going on?
Hey, not too much.
Is Peg around?
I'm on the phone.
Oh, good. So, there's something important I need to talk to you about. There's something important I need to ask you, actually. Don, I'd like you to stay on the phone as a witness, please.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Peggy, if I am deemed mentally incapacitated or incompetent and I can no longer make decisions for myself, I would like you to be my medical advocate responsible for making all medical decisions on my behalf in accordance to my living will. By agreeing to be my healthcare proxy, you're legally obligated to carry out my medical wishes despite your own moral or religious beliefs. Mother, will you be my healthcare proxy?
Yes, of course.
Perfect. That's it. Thank you.
Oh, you scared me. I have been fretting for the last hour, going, oh crap, what's going on?
Yeah, she has about 8 different scenarios worked up. The marriage one, I blew milk out of my nose. You're doing a living will?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We should be doing
We
that.
haven't even done that.
We've been talking about it for 10 years.
So, just out of curiosity, why haven't you?
I don't know. No reason. No good reason. Just I don't know. We just haven't. No good reason. One of those things.
Yeah, we just haven't.
Hey, did you ever shave your beard? Last time I talked to you, you said you were thinking about shaving. Did you ever do that?
No, I lost the courage. I
Oh.
think it's probably a permanent fixture on my face right now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and it's nice. It's it's a nice one. So I guess only thing is if you shaved it, you would look younger. So if you ever feel like that's where you want to take things, that would be the first step.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. I'm out.
Always enlightening.
All right, talk to you later. Bye.
The other main thing that I have given a lot of thought to is the actual dying process.
We're back talking with life coach Devin Martin.
And the one thing I've always been very clear on, just as a consciousness junkie, I guess, somebody who explores consciousness through meditation and breathing exercises and psychedelics and philosophy, is I want to be aware of my passing. And it's very important to me that I be as sober as possible when I die.
That's interesting, death as an experience.
I do want to make sure that I'm minimally sedated or anesthetized as I die, because, as somebody who's been meditating for a decade or two, you learn quickly that consciousness is probably not what it seems, and it's a big mystery what happens when the body passes, or when life even leaves the body is not even entirely clear to anybody. And so there might be some choices to be made or some wonder to be experienced, and I would absolutely not want to miss out on that very rare opportunity.
Yeah, but I would just want to make sure that I'm actually really dying, you know? I mean, I would hate to be like, yeah, let me feel it, fuck it. And then it just turns out my appendix is burst and I should have been on a lot of morphine. You know what I mean? I just want to know for sure.
Should we talk about how you're going to be what you're going to do with your remains? Are you going to burden someone with your remains? That's the question.
He means honor, but yes, that is the question, and we'll get to that in just a second. But first, step 3, my last will and testament.
There are certain huge life stages that should cause you to have to go out. Get married, get divorced, have a child, lose someone who was there to your possessions.
Turn 40.
And even if you don't do a will, and this is something that we've come across, people don't want to do one. They're like, my family will get along fine. If they're going to fight, then they don't deserve any of my money. And you're like, you don't know what you're setting up, but okay, you're the most trusting human being on the planet. Have fun with that thought. You know, you might as well just throw them in a room with a sharp stick and said, okay, whoever lives is walking out with my money.
So we spent the next 30 minutes or so swapping stories about how crazy families get when it comes down to inheritances. That's why Jean and Elizabeth recommended that you assign the executor role to someone who is strong and impartial.
Someone you trust.
Yeah, it's someone you trust.
Someone that's good, someone that'll follow what you want, and someone that can make like informed decisions. This is where you want that person who's not crazy and wild and is going to like go off, you know, on people and can deal with lawyers and can deal with family members that might be complete.
Okay, let me get this straight. So I need to find someone I know who's trustworthy, who's not crazy or wild, who's not going to go off on people, and who can make informed decisions. I actually don't think I know anybody with all of those qualities, and I'm certainly not related to anybody like that. I do know, however, someone with 4 out of 5.
What are we doing, Devin?
It's official.
I know, isn't it?
Feels very momentous.
Well, this is official. Libby and Leon, I've invited you here to be witnesses for what I'm about to ask Laura. Okay, here goes. Laura, you are one of the most trustworthy people that I know. And you're crazy, but you're like the best kind of crazy. And you make really, really informed decisions. So, Laura Wiley, will you do me the honor of being the executor of my will?
Get out of here. For real?
For real.
For real?
Legally.
Sure. I'm shocked.
And you
I'm shocked that I'm the one. Yes. I hope I will not have to do that. Ever. But I will.
You know, and if I get married and have kids, things will change, and I'll probably assign someone else to be the executor. But
I'll get demoted. You're gonna demote me?
I'm just letting you know that if you kind of.
That I might get replaced by someone more capable later, more desirable.
My future wife may take.
Why you gotta ruin it like that?
No, God.
I felt so honored there for a second. For now, I feel honored for now. Thanks.
Shit. I guess I kind of messed that up, didn't I?
I also want to know what I'm getting out of this.
Well, there's not much. This is kind
Should
of
we do like a? I mean, is it like we can grab what we want?
You could just like give me that. Your little cute liquor cabinet over there.
We could just go around.
I would say yeah. I would say I think there's no one's going to stop you from grabbing anything if you want. If there's something that you want.
Can I just put my name on Post-its and put it around your apartment?
I think if you just lick things that you want, that's legally binding.
All right.
Ugh, this is dismal talk.
Is there a place in the will where we get to guess how you'll die? And if you win, you get everything.
Oh, pool.
I like
That'd be cool.
That would be. I think to have a death pool, I think that's a great idea.
Brightens up a difficult time. Puts a little element of suspense into it.
I think the people who know you could definitely come up
I mean,
with
if we all guess syphilis, then no one's going to get anything.
Exactly. You can't have that many people guessing that.
Jumping on a grenade?
No.
I don't think, no.
Or rescuing a child from a burning building would be one.
See, I wouldn't go for that one.
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
I'd take that one.
You have to spell it correctly, though, to win.
Nope.
Do you consider yourself to be a fellow seeker? Do you believe there's something more to being human than what's available in the illusory cocoon of our material world? Or perhaps you're thinking of starting an existential scavenger hunt and would like a guidebook to help chart your path? If yes, you're in luck. Go to theadventuresofmementomori.com and sign up to receive D.S. Moss's upcoming book, Something to Believe in, a seeker's guide to finding your big belief. Sign up today and start your journey.
Step 4. Guardianship.
Guardianship is the biggest. I know so many people, so many friends of mine that have kids that have not named a guardian.
So, turns out guardianship only pertains to children and not dogs. So we'll just skip this part and move on to Step 5. Bury, burned, or given away to science.
One of the biggest confusions for people is the end-of-life process.
We're back talking to Cynthia Beal from Natural Burial Company.
The Natural Burial Company makes biodegradable coffins and urns and shrouds and other kinds of natural and alternative products that people can use once they die.
So tell us, Cynthia, what confuses people about the end-of-life process?
It actually has several different stages, and I've broken it into 3 parts.
Part 1.
That is the predisposition activities, the taking care of the body, is it embalmed or not, the casket or shrouding, the event itself, whether or not you're going to have a viewing, whether or not you're going to use a funeral director. All of that stuff goes on before what's called the disposition.
Part 2.
The disposition itself, it's a tight moment in time. The disposition right now, it's what is done with the body, what actually happens to the body to end the legal record of the life.
To end the legal record of the life.
If you're talking about a natural burial, the disposition of burial is permitted. But the actual burial itself, it takes place in a very short period of time. The hole is dug, the body is put in, the hole is covered up again, and the disposition is over. Same with the cremation. You go to a crematory, the body is put into the cremator, the disposition begins, the fire finishes its work. The disposition of cremation is over when the body is burned.
And Part 3.
And then you have a period of time where you have a whole bunch of activities that come post-disposition that have nothing to do with the disposition either. I'm really glad you asked that question because it's really important to look at and separate out the activities you want to do that are the actual disposition themselves and the activities that are either predisposition or post-disposition.
So I have to admit my naivete here. Coming into this, I thought the options were really either to be cremated or buried. And by buried, I mean being embalmed, dressed in a cheap brown suit, probably corduroy, painted with theater makeup on, and being locked up in this $10,000 piece of furniture next to somebody I may or may not have known forever, or until the aliens dig me up. So it's either that or cremation. So it turns out there are a lot of options.
The modern alternative that we're proposing now with our alternative natural technique is to have your body placed in something that's biodegradable, a coffin or a casket or a shroud, and buried in the earth, directly in the earth, without a concrete vault or an outer burial container around it so that decomposition can take place faster, or period.
Did you know that in natural cemeteries there are traces of human DNA in the trees? And did you know that modern embalming techniques originated during the American Civil War, where instead of formaldehyde, they used a mixture of arsenic and mercury to embalm over 500,000 bodies? Science has come a long way since then, and we have many environmentally friendly alternative burial options.
Can you get them shot into space?
My ashes? Yeah. But that's way out of my price range. It's actually cheaper to get cryogenically preserved.
Like frozen head Walt Disney style?
Disney. Yeah.
Imagine if you're subtly aware of that. Imagine if you're just cold for 600 years.
What if we been wrong this whole time and hell is actually just cold and frozen?
I think hell for me is a cold place, yeah.
So says the man who spends his winters in New York. After doing quite a bit of research on the matter, my decision for disposition is...
Yeah, I just wanted to say a little bit more about alternative forms of disposition.
Cynthia, 1 second, please. I'm announcing my decision. I've decided to donate all working organs to science and then cremate the rest. Can't wait to see the doctor's face when they try to figure out how I survived for so long with a shriveled up little raisin for a heart. Okay, Cynthia.
What's really interesting about all of them is that there are still these ideas, these objections to them are primarily decency arguments. One of the biggest misunderstandings is that a natural burial is illegal. Another misunderstanding is that it's a law that says you have to be embalmed, and that somehow embalming protects people from disease. And both of those things are myths. So embalming requirements for viewing a body at a funeral are only a funeral home policy. They are not a law. I really welcome the alternative disposition movement because I think it's really appropriate to honor the way all these multiple cultures and religions in our world explore death and the afterlife. Death is one of the most interesting ways we express ourselves and our beliefs as people. So,
thank you, Cynthia. Well, I'm almost ready. So far in this journey, I've gathered my birth certificate, DD-214, tax returns for the last 2 years, and all of my other important legal life documents and secured them in a safe. That combination, with all the passwords for my online profiles, Instagram to electric bills, have all been entered into everplans.com. I've selected my death deputies who've been tasked and know what to do should something happen. I've written my last tweet, which will also be my first tweet. Will, advance directive, power of attorney, all have been done. I've even picked out my obituary headshot. All is planned except for step 6, the remains.
Okay, do you want your ashes buried?
No, I mean, not in the traditional sense. I don't want a headstone. And I also don't want to be put on somebody's mantle either, because that usually just ends up in someone's garage or deep in someone's closet.
Yeah, so I mean, you could say, I want part on it traveling, the other part, I want to go to this mountain, I want to go there.
Tattooed into somebody.
Yes, you could be.
That's right. You can get a tattoo with someone's ashes in it. You can be turned into jewelry. You can even be turned into a diamond. You can be turned into prayer beads, works of art. The options are really only limited to your imagination. And now finally the fun part, step 7, the service.
Service time.
Yeah.
What kind of service do you want? So do you want it to be at a restaurant? Do you want it to be on a golf course? You know, is there certain food that you want? Is there a restaurant you want to cater at? Is there somebody that you want, I always say to MC the party?
Having the ability to have playlists, or having to be able to have excerpts of books, or here's the passage I want. Here's a playlist. Here's a 2-hour playlist that I keep right there on my phone and my computer.
To it.
And you're just like, go to it.
So, here this whole time, I've been waiting for step 7, the service, because it's supposed to be the fun part, right? Like, what crazy thing or what momentous, memorable thing can I plan for my funeral, like your once-in-a-lifetime event? You know, are you going to be like Hunter Thompson? Or are you going to play games? Are you going to have a pool? That could be fun. But then the more I started thinking about that, and the more I started planning for that, the more ridiculous it actually felt. Because ultimately, organically, those things are going to happen anyway if you live your life right. And, you know, last song, yeah, that'd be cool to have a last song. But for me, being dead is formal enough. I'd rather the music just keep on playing until the last person leaves.
The main question I've been biting my tongue on this far is, what is all this planning for your death doing to your life plan? This is a whole lot of time and energy and resources that are not going into working out today or going on a date or some next great creative work of yours? Is planning for your death a way to avoid living?
Ooh, and that's why he's my life coach, asking the hard questions. I will say, though, it's helped me.
Is it like that Queen Latifah movie where she finds out that she has cancer and then does everything that she wants and then, just kidding, you don't have cancer?
Spoiler alert.
Well, it's been out a while.
Are you doing that?
Living each day as if it were my last? No, but I've made small changes. For instance, every morning when I get out of bed and I put my glasses on, I say to myself out loud, "Death, yo," just as an acknowledgement. And then, more importantly, I've enrolled in a breakdancing class because I'd never forgive myself if I died without first learning how to pop and lock, yo. And with that, thank you for joining me on the first episode of the Adventures of Memento Mori podcast. A special thanks to everplants.com, Cynthia Beal at Natural Burial Company, Elizabeth Meyer, and Devin Martin of Lifestyle Integrity. Please visit our website, remembertodie.com, to find more information about the wonderful work these folks do. I'm D.S. Moss. Back again next episode with more Adventures of Memento Mori.
The episode was produced by Josh Heilbrenner, D.S. Moss, and Hannah Beal. Theme music composed by Mikey Ballou. This has been a production of the Maida Creative Company. Until next time, keep seeking.